Hi, Sean Spence, CEO of Armchair Telethon, here with Armchair Diary, Story of an Entrepreneur. And I just had kind of a funny conversation that I really was not expecting to have. Somebody who I didn't really know, who I'd met through one of these virtual meetings that I've attended, and they really liked what I had to say, and they wanted to hook me up with somebody else, and so they introduced me to somebody who was supposed to introduce me to somebody, and the somebody that they were going to introduce me to had gone out of business, but they had somebody else, so they introduced me to the somebody else, and I had to talk with the somebody else today, and we started the conversation, and I said, honestly, I'm not 100% sure what we're talking about because I was referred to you and you were referred to me by somebody that I do not really know at all. So let's talk about what you do. And we then had a conversation, and what quickly became apparent was that this person's company is a competitor of mine. And they're one that I knew certainly is out there. And, you know, we started to have a little bit of a conversation, and I finally just said that. I mean, I said, you know, I'm not sure what we have to talk about because as we're talking, it actually turns out that we're competitors because they offer something that is not quite a telethon, but it is a virtual event, and they would be competing in exactly the same space, except they are a lot more expensive and a lot more work on the part of the nonprofit. So I could easily make the case for somebody why they should hire us instead of them. But then of course they could make some cases. They might have, you know, they hire celebrities and they do some things, but of course all of those things have costs. And so what we're doing is creating something where celebrities might be involved, but we've just created something where it's very easy for them to get involved helping a charity, and so they don't charge. And our musicians don't charge because it's extremely easy and because they're making the world a better place and they don't have to leave their house, and all of these different things. So there are a bunch of reasons why either one of us could make the argument that we were better, and this is exactly what competition is. So honestly, even as I'm telling you this, I am just slightly thrown off of my game because, and I don't think I don't think I sounded thrown off my game in that call, but it did kind of throw me because I was not expecting that. And I knew that there would be companies that would be offering similar services and charging large amounts of money and going after only large customers because they would be charging these large amounts of money. And of course that's part of my value proposition, is that Armchair Telethon is not particularly expensive in relationship to what you get, and yet I can still, you know, make a profit, and organizations can be extremely happy with what they've got. So anyway, it was a really educational conversation, but it was weird. And when you're in the entrepreneurial world, you're gonna end up having lots of conversations about competitors and with competitors, and sometimes you're gonna be friends with the competitors. And I actually don't worry a whole lot about competition. I'm really not worried about them. It just threw me to discover that I was on the phone with him when I wasn't prepared to think about it, and I would say something and then he would just come right back at me and say, well, we're better because of this. And, you know, I was like, okay, wasn't really trying to have that conversation. And so I kind of, you know, tamped it down a little bit and then wrapped it up and thanked him for his time and moved on. So anyway, always be ready for the competition. Always be looking for information about them. Do not build your life around what the competition is doing, but do learn from them and realize that there are lots of lessons there. You do need to have some idea of what they're doing, but you know, don't let them run your life. Run your business, take care of your customers, and you know, I would argue that most of the time you'll succeed. Thank you very much. This is Sean Spence, CEO of Armchair Telethon, and this has been another episode of Armchair Diary, Story of an Entrepreneur. Thank you very much.